Hello and welcome to Last Level Press. I am Mr. Black and I am joined tonight by Violita. We are going to be breaking down the new Minecraft update 1.7.2, which, from what we understand from the new patch notes, is very content-laden. There's a lot of new things to take a look at, so let's waste no more time and jump straight into checking them out. So we are going to create a new world for the new settings, which from what I understand will be also including new biomes. We'll call it the LLP verse. And for our nascent fan base, you may also know that this world will very likely be the same that will be seen in future videos for mod spotlights and full-on mod world reviews for bigger mods like Questology. So let's see if we can find some of these new biomes, shall we? I always love this moment when you're waiting for a new world to be born. Something about it's just exciting. Alright, so while Violita and I are ranging about in search of the new biomes, I'll give you guys a quick rundown on just what is in the patch notes of 1.7.2, and I'll split this video into two parts. Part 1 will be the overview of the new 1.7.2 features. Part 2 will be Violita and I's expedition to investigate these new features with all the new biomes and flowers and everything. So, according to the update notes, there should be several new biomes. I don't know the official names for any of them. I've kind of been nicknaming them as I go. The savannas, the marsh, the snowy mountains, the green hills, as I'll show you. There is also now a new world type available for players to choose from, along with the usual flat worlds and such. There is now the amplified, in all caps, you must note, world type, which I will be displaying for you guys in more detail later on. Suffice it to say, it lives up to its name. There are several different new types of woods. I've found the acacia or acacia, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. There's also old oak and dark oak. Several other new things have been added, including stained glass, packed ice, red sand, not the sci-fi drug, you nerds. Podzol, I'm not sure what that is, I just saw it in the notes. There are now also multiple new flowers, including double height flowers, new grasses, and also double height grass. A lot of the flowers are much more colorful now, and they seem to spawn much more frequently in a lot of the different biomes. I don't know if I found all of the new ones, but after just about a single in-game day's worth of searching, I found that there are now poppies, red tulips, peonies, orange tulips, alliums. There are now 2-block-high rose bushes, some sunflowers, oxeye daisies, and azure bluets. Again, that's all I found just after a single day's worth of searching. I'm sure there's probably more than that. And some of these are genuinely pretty to look at. I think I found Fantasia. There also are some new fish. And fishing rods may now be enchanted, which is something that I was kind of hoping for when I first started playing Minecraft. I always kind of wanted, for some reason, a magic fishing rod. Now my dream can come true. I'm not sure what they mean in the patch notes by saying that fishing is now, quote-unquote, more interesting. I will be exploring that as well. Another note is that nether portals may now take multiple shapes. You're not just stuck with the same 4x5 portal arrangement. Now, as long as your nether portal of obsidian is at least 5 bricks high, then the scale seems to be relatively endless. You can make them, the same classical shape as they were. You can make them very, very wide. You can make them incredibly tall. Or, like Oblivion portals, massive enough to field an army through. Whatever floats your boat. Another new feature of 1.7.2 is the increased attention on achievements. There are several new achievements. I don't know exactly what all they are, but achievements are now world-specific. And every time that a player on any given server gets an achievement, it is announced to everybody on that server. So it doesn't get quite as obnoxious as like the Xbox Live achievements, but it is cool to kind of see a little bit more of just a recognition of what all you've been doing in the game. Other new functions include some new multiplayer functions. For example, you can click on someone's name now to send them a PM, making it a little bit quicker. Links in chat text are now clickable, so that'll also save you the copy-paste work. And you can see who's active on a multiplayer server by hovering your cursor over the player count in the server lists to get a full list of who is actively on that server at one time. Another welcome addition of the 1.7.2 update are the new graphics options. There are multiple new shader tests. Multiple resource packs can now be loaded at one time, and those packs can now also include sounds. I'm not sure exactly what having multiple on at one time means. Maybe that means you could prioritize them and have like lower priority resource packs kind of fill in for the things that your primary resource pack doesn't retexture or resound. I'm not sure. That's just pure speculation. But that's the only way that I could really make sense of having multiple loaded at one time. As far as personal annotations go, some things I've noticed that were not mentioned in the update notes. It definitely seems like spawn levels have been increased for both passive and aggressive mobs. Nighttime now is, well, hell, really. In almost every single occasion with the 1.7.2 update that I've had the occasion to be trapped outside, it's damn near suicide, especially as a starting off character. So I'm not really sure how much I like that, considering before, if you were kind of speedy and careful, you could still more or less kind of Indiana Jones your way through surviving at night. Now, if you're not just hauling ass all the time, you're gonna die at night. Another thing to note on top of that is that witches are no longer confined to their huts. They are random spawns now, and that's just as devastating as you might think for starting off characters. I had the bad luck to run into one very shortly after starting my investigation into 1.7.2, and yeah, when you've got, 6 zombies coming around you, a witch tossing poison jets you, and you fall into a hole and 2 creepers jump on top of you, yeah, you're doomed. Okay, I do have one quick bug to report, because I'm finding I cannot dismount the freaking horse. The old left control is not giving me results. Trying to right click, E, Q, left shift, right control, right shift. Yeah, nothing's working, so this is a pretty big problem that I did not have before, so at least common denominator here points to 1.7 having done something with the horse code that isn't necessarily playing very nicely. So I don't know if this is going to be a very common bug or if I'm just a minority here, but it is something to take note of. Oh shit! No! No! Anyway. Well, I came up with a solution to the horse problem by accident. You can always just, jump in the water for auto dismount. Of course, that's not a very practical solution and certainly not applicable everywhere, but hey, when you're desperate. While that's kind of frustrating, that frustration is also compounded by the fact that despite looking for them, I'm not finding any increased mobs with 1.7. Or 1.7.2, I should say. I would have liked to have seen more mob diversity, especially with all of these new biomes. Like lions for the savannah, gazelles, and hell, for the snowy mountains, give us goats or something to accommodate with the sheep. But hopefully those will come in future updates. But for now, you just get a lot more new biomes to hunt sheep and pigs and cows in. So that's not to say that I'm not thankful for those new biomes, but I would have hoped to have seen a little bit more that would come with them. And one last thing before we get to part 2. The very last line on the update notes for 1.7.2 notes that Herobrine has been removed. But we all know better, don't we? He's always watching. And on that note, this concludes our overview of Minecraft's 1.7.2 update. Overall, I'm very pleased with it. It adds a great deal more diversity to an already diverse game. It offers new performance options and seems to herald things to come. I certainly hope that it's a sign of Mojang's plans for Minecraft. Seeing the increased emphasis on natural environments, creatures, and materials, I'm quite excited for what this means in the future. So, check out part 2 of tonight's Minecraft Madness for a closer look at the new features as Violita and I trek in search of new biomes and new worlds. Thank you all for joining us at Last Level Press. I am Mr. Black, and I wish you all good gaming and Godspeed.